Nearly a century ago, Dale Carnegie published a book that went on to change the lives of millions of readers around the world. That book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, wasn't filled with abstract psychology or endless theory. Instead, it laid out timeless, practical strategies for building better relationships, making people feel valued, and influencing others in ways that foster trust rather than resentment. Even though the book first came out in 1936, the ideas remain astonishingly relevant today. In fact, they may be more useful now than ever before, at a time when personal connections are often strained by digital communication, fast-paced lifestyles, and cultural divisions. This expanded summary aims to go deeper into Carnegie's key principles, rewritten in modern language, enriched with fresh examples, and explained in a way that shows how you can apply them in everyday situations. Think of this as both a detailed guidebook and a modern commentary on timeless human psychology. By the end, you'll understand not only what to do, but also why it works, and how to put it into action immediately. Part 1. Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. Principle 1. Avoid criticism, condemnation, and complaining. Carnegie begins with an observation that seems simple, but has massive consequences. People do not respond well to criticism. You might think that pointing out someone's mistakes is the best way to improve them. After all, isn't constructive criticism a good thing? But the reality is, criticism usually puts people on the defensive. Instead of inspiring them to improve, it makes them feel attacked, judged, or unappreciated. Carnegie famously said, "Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do." That statement is as true in 2025 as it was in the 1930s. Why criticism backfires. When we criticize someone, even if we believe we're being fair, the other person's natural instinct is to protect their ego. Criticism can trigger defensiveness and resistance, damage self-esteem, create resentment that lasts for years. Close off open communication. For example, imagine saying, "You're so lazy. You never think before you speak. She's always glued to her phone in meetings." None of these statements inspire change. Instead, they create walls. The criticized person either withdraws or retaliates. What to do instead? The key is to replace criticism with understanding. Before reacting to behavior you don't like, pause and ask yourself, what could be the reasons behind this person's actions that I might not know about? This shift in perspective can completely transform the situation. Maybe the coworker on her phone is dealing with a family emergency. Maybe the employee who missed a deadline is overwhelmed with invisible pressures. By choosing empathy over criticism, you give people space to save face and maintain dignity. More importantly, you keep the relationship intact. A real-world example. Consider a manager who sees an employee constantly arriving late. Instead of angrily saying, "You're irresponsible and disrespectful of everyone's time," the manager could say, "I've noticed you've been getting in late recently. Is everything okay? I'd like to understand if something outside of work is making it difficult to get here on time." That simple change in approach opens the door to an honest conversation instead of a defensive reaction. Principle 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. If criticism destroys relationships, appreciation builds them. Carnegie called appreciation the big secret of dealing with people. Why? Because the desire to feel important and valued is one of the deepest human needs. People crave recognition. If you can fulfill that need authentically, you'll earn loyalty, affection, and cooperation. The difference between appreciation and flattery. Not all compliments are created equal. Carnegie drew a sharp line between genuine appreciation and insincere flattery. Appreciation comes from the heart. It is specific, thoughtful, and rooted in truth. Flattery is shallow and manipulative. It exaggerates or fabricates praise in hopes of gaining favor. Examples. Genuine. Your hard work on this project has not gone unnoticed. Flattery. You're the only one who could ever pull off such a project. People can sense the difference almost immediately. Appreciation makes them feel respected. Flattery feels like manipulation. How to practice. Real appreciation, observe carefully. Pay attention to small details, efforts, habits, and gestures people put in. Acknowledge openly. When you see someone doing something well, let them know in clear, specific terms. Be sincere. If you don't mean it, don't say it. Forced praise can backfire. Praise. When you make this a habit, you'll notice people not only respond positively, but also become more motivated to continue performing well. Principle 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. This principle is the cornerstone of influence. The only way on earth to influence other people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. Most of us spend conversations focused on our own desires, what we want, what we think, what we need. But to truly influence others, you must flip the script. Why this works. Every action people take is driven by some desire: safety, recognition, love, financial security, freedom, adventure, or pride. If you can identify what the other person wants, you can align your request with their goals. This doesn't mean manipulation. It means connecting your needs to theirs. Practical example. Gary Vaynerchuk, the entrepreneur and author, often describes his hiring process. Instead of focusing on what he wants from a candidate, he spends time discovering what they want out of life. Once he knows their goals, he shows how his company can help them achieve those ambitions. That simple shift creates alignment. The employee doesn't just take a job, they pursue their own dreams through the company's mission. How you can apply this. Next time you want someone to do something, pause and ask yourself, what does this person care about most right now? How can I frame my request in terms of their goals, not mine? Example, instead of telling your teenager, clean your room because I said so, you could say, if you tidy up your room now, you'll have more space to play your game comfortably, and it'll be easier to find things when your friends come over. By tying the request to what they care about, you increase the chances of cooperation.